Pikmin is a game about these cute little guys. Look at him. Look at him. He's so cute. And there's more of them, and they're being cute together. But don't let their cuteness fool you. This is a god-forsaken planet filled with horrors beyond human comprehension, where souls unfortunate enough to crash land here don't often make it out alive. Unfortunate souls being us, Captain Olimar. With a gutted ship and 30 days of oxygen, I set out to find my missing ship parts and make it off the planet before I die a slow and painful asphyxiation-related death. After crash landing on the planet, in my immediate surroundings lies the onion, which spits out a seed, which is our first Pikmin. And what else do we do except pick it up and immediately chuck it as far as humanly possible? After using the pellet on that flower to grab a few more Pikmin, I command them to push a box out of the way, which is eye-opening for the potentials of exploitation. And what better way to test that than to have them heave the first ship part back to the ship, and with it, a slightly less busted up ship. Less busted up enough to land me in the Forest of Hope. Since we're stuck in a new location without any explanation, there's no time for relaxation. So I grabbed 40 Pikmin and beeline to the biggest creature in the area to hopefully show him that size isn't all that matters in the wild, and I'll just let that play out for you. Wake up! Yeah, you ain't know this was time when we was on, huh? So many lives are being lost, including his. Let's go. All right, pick him up. After taking that epic win, we bring the corpse back to the onion to nourish it so that we may procure more soldiers. But his children didn't take that lightly, attempting to spark a rebellion, which landed them in a one-way trip back to the onion right behind their father. After snuffing the spirits of the local wildlife, we collected the first ship part in the area, and the expedition was rounded off by the discovery of the yellow onion, which means new Pikmin with new abilities, such as picking up bomb rocks and blasting walls, opening up new areas and allowing me to get another ship part. It's my whimsical radar. Oh, guilty as charged. I am pretty whimsical. Which gives me the ability to look at the map and see the parts in the area, making my search that much easier. And we headed back to the impact site on day 5 to try to buff up Pikmin numbers, which almost had the opposite effect. Anyway, I was able to make up for previous mishaps and even gain a few more Pikmin before making it back to the Forest of Hope on day 6. And this day was primarily setup. And by setup, I mean bombing the walls behind the ship so I could collect the parts the next day. And with those parts comes the tiniest bit of cosmetic repair, but more importantly, the strength for our beat little vessel to make it to this dank cave system is where a wealth of said horrors of this game lurk, and that couldn't be more apparent than immediately upon landing, because it was then when I discovered a foreskin monster, but it seems like he doesn't want anything to do with us, for now. While exploring, I came across the blue onion, granting me the third and final type of Pikmin, the aquatic blues. Upon trying to grow blue numbers though, the foreskin monster came back to try to grab a snack from us. After quickly dealing with that abomination, I recovered 2 more parts in this area thanks in big part to blues. That's 7 parts for those of you who aren't keeping track. And it's back to the impact site once again to grab more numbers and, more importantly, the last part in the area. That is until we met this rock with tribal tattoos. Ah! Ah! This is not going well at all. Which instantly put every Pikmin under my command into the ground. Oh, he just smacked me too. Oh, I'm in the ground! After slowly and painfully beating him to death with our bare hands, we finally grabbed the final part in the area and bred Pikmin until the sun went down. And I didn't go back to the navel because I'm scared of the horrors that lie there. So instead of that, it's back to the Forest of Hope to see what I can collect with blue Pikmin. And here comes undeniable proof that I am in fact the best Pikmin player on the planet. No, can't throw him into the pack. No, 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 no. Come here. Bro. So many Pikmin just died. After that slightly traumatic episode, we recovered yet another ship part. Yay! Whilst making a final explorative push for the day, I encountered maybe the scariest creature yet, the burrowing snag. With seconds left on the clock, I decided not to test my luck and ran away with my tail between my legs. We'll get him next time, right? No! I'm kidding. I did the immature, unwise thing and sent my men into battle to die. I mean to learn. Thusly only sending in a small sample size, most of which got eaten, prompting an actual retreat. Only to grab more men, because we won't take that lying down. Until another one showed up out of nowhere? Yeah, we ended up taking that lying down. It was a strategic retreat because being one limb lighter and having so much mental trauma that therapy would be the equivalent to a 2010s Call of Duty lobby doesn't sound entirely fun in my eyes. Instead, I released my frustration by belittling the Pikmin. These creatures are very plentiful. That's probably how they survived. It's just like crazy amounts of onion reproduction, because this species would not survive if they weren't just like very plentiful, because they are stupid. And collecting another ship part. While heading for the second to last part in the area, we happen upon this guy, who I don't see as a huge threat. Nothing on this planet could be more daunting than the demon bird. Or so I thought, but we'll get back to that later. I decided to call him Greg, and I grabbed 100 soldiers in training to give them a taste of the front lines. And it's almost as if Greg could tell as he started spitting boulders in our direction, knowing these fresh faces wouldn't be able to dodge. But I did see the radiation canopy, so that's exciting. The Pikmin who were tasked with bringing it back to the ship had the bright idea that the optimal path was straight through Greg. So the B team had no choice but to play distraction while the A team got away, which led to another unfortunate loss of life. But instead of sorrow, all I could feel was pure joy as I got the canopy back to the ship. Let's go! Sorry about that. While on the way to collect the last part, this stupid idiot decided to try, and succeed, to have a snack of nearly 50 of my guys, and to make matters worse, the last piece is inside of one of the snaggers that gave me so much trouble in the past. I attempted to blow them up with bombs, but on account of yellow Pikmin being too slow, I had to kill them the old-fashioned way. And one of them dropped the final part in the area, meaning I don't have to come back here again. But with the effective closing of one area comes the opening of another. Instead of heading over there just yet though, I feel an obligation to tackle at least a little bit of the Forest Naval before moving on to the new area. Upon landing in the Naval, I grab an expedition group and head towards the first part, which was swiftly grabbed with little issue. The issues came after opening the lower area and attempting to fight this phallic-looking thing, which apparently can spit fire and blow real hard. So hard, in fact, that one gust was enough to make half the Pikmin in my group lose their flowers. Yeah, I know. After the whole operation nearly going south in one fell swoop, we were able to beat him to death and get another part in the area, putting us ahead of schedule. And while the part was being brought back, I ran a humane experiment from which I was able to surmise that reds are immune to fire. Yeah, so after going toe-to-toe with a walking flamethrower, I kind of lost that sense of obligation towards clearing out the Forest Naval for the time being. So instead of going back there, I head to the distant spring, which I immediately regret after getting just a small taste of what formidable fauna lie here. Oh, this place is terrifying. Bro, everything here is deadly. This is terrifying. After formulating a plan, me and the blues head out to get the first part, which is right across the water from the ship. But despite wading through the water to get over there just fine, the Pikmin refused to go back the way they came, insisting we build the bridge. So I grab a few yellows to do just that, build the bridge. But this yellow Wally-hop had other plans, as nearly every Pikmin I brought out was brutally slammed, leading my anger to get the best of me as I brought what remained back to the onion to beat him to death with my bare fists while the blues watched in the distance. And I don't mean to brag, but it wasn't even close. I mean, who needs Pikmin when you got hands, am I right? That part was 15 out of 30, which means we're halfway there. After a little struggle with throwing angles, we got the next part, which for some reason was able to be carried through the water perfectly fine and without issue. Anyways, after getting that part, Fly Guy of the popular book franchise Fly Guy started picking up Pikmin and throwing them into the ground. Then he just left. I'm not really sure what that was about. After that wonderful display of terror, I decided to take my chance with Enable once again. After my first day back, I gained nothing, but I did lose 36 Pikmin in battle with 2 albino frogs, so that's something. And I'm not exactly sure what was running through my head other than, hey, let's backtrack to a place with no more ship parts to grab a few more Pikmin. Regardless, upon landing back in the naval, once again, I took a few blues and we rush over to the part that was previously failed to take revenge and finally collect it, which led to mass casualties, but at this point in this game, what doesn't? Hey, we got the anti-dioxin filter though, which means our ship is now up to regulation. It was while making my way over to the next part when I was reminded for the 80th time why Pikmin can prove to be more of an active hindrance than anything else. Just pretty much practically willingly jump through. What happened? What are they dying to? Why are they up there? They're all gonna die. Oh, the stupidity of these Pikmin is irritating. Then again, I can't place soul blame on Pikmin, as I spent half the day trying to throw Pikmin that were simply too heavy up to a part that was simply too high. So not even realizing what I was doing wrong, I attempted to get the next part and walked straight into fire, killing more than half of what Pikmin I had. No! There's no way. After coming to grips with my own stupidity, I used that handy little flower in the back to turn them all into reds and have them carry the part back to the ship. Oh, it gets rid of their flowers? Disappointed. While doing some Solimar scouting, I found another cock monster, so I did what any sane person would do and started punching it. But realizing I wasn't doing nearly enough damage, I grabbed a random Pikmin and conducted some field research. That was cut short when my soul yellow was turned into a cock minion. I don't like how that sounds, so I'm just gonna leave it at this. We got red Pikmin, beat the cock monster, and retrieved the Omega stabilizer he was holding for me. Which, once that gets back to the ship, Olimar lets us know that we should be able to leave the planet without recovering the rest of the parts. Which is good to know, but ultimately useless information, because regardless of that fact, I'm trying for all 30 parts to ensure the best shot at survival. The first half of the next day was dedicated to maximizing workflow. Second half of the day was dedicated to going toe-to-toe with this. And you may be asking, is that Venus with legs? And honestly, I don't know. What I do know, which I learned through trial and error, is that the ideal strategy is to stand under him and wait for him to drop his ball, then throw Pikmin at it. And eventually... Let's go. Okay, that was terrifying for like 3 seconds. How many need to carry this piece? But I wasn't able to bring it back to the ship on time for the end of the day. Oh, and regarding our vertical challenge, I think I found out what the issue was. Yellows are lighter. Duly noted. Okay. Yeah, so I'm bringing like How many do you need to carry that? 20? I'm bringing 25 yellows. I was then able to make up for some of the slower speed of the prior days by collecting the last 2 parts of this area today. With 8 parts to be collected and only 7 days until liftoff, we make a mad dash to the final location of the game, the distant spring. After formulating a plan of attack, the only thing to do is head out in search of ship parts. While attempting to grab a part, Fly Guy came back with a vengeance and tried to kidnap one of my boys. But little did he know, you slight one of us, you slight all of us. So we didn't let what he just tried to do slide, and we beat him to death with our bare hands. And while I was trying to grab bombs, his cousin came to our base and tried to exact revenge, which we couldn't just ignore. I grabbed 25 red Pikmin and we jumped him like a scene out of Jujutsu Kaisen. Fun and games when you were swooping us and now you're silent. Yeah. We ended up getting our bombs and sneaking past that infected Bulborb with no issue, but there weren't enough bombs, so we'll have to come back to that tomorrow. And just like that, the day ends having made no progress. But with everything we did and a good game plan, we can get back on track hopefully soon. The next day, while carrying my part back to the ship, the Pikmin thought of a funny bit where they just walked up to the deceased Bulborb and rammed the part into his face. Multiple times. A few feet away from the ship. Being so behind at this point, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't frustrated by that, so I decided to risk their lives and just throw them at the part and let what happens happen. I may or may not have also thrown some additional Pikmin right into his mouth to vent said frustration. But hey, that allowed the ones carrying the part to make a relatively clean getaway. The next couple parts were easy. The first required a wall to be broken, so after the bombs respawned, we were able to break the wall, avoid the diseased, and grab the UV lamp with little issue. The next part required me to fight a BDSM enjoyer's idea of a magical hot air balloon ride. Following that beating, the part made it back to the ship with little issue. The next day, I was halted from making any type of progress from 2 frogs who thought it would be funny to try to stop me in my tracks. Dealing with them took way longer than I'd hoped, so pressed for time and already 2 parts behind schedule, I tried to greed progress at the end of the day by letting the Pikmin break the wall and trying to recall them at the count 0, which didn't work at all. Wow, none of them were following me. Bro, there's no way. I pressed the button once and nothing happened. Oh, that's so painful. Or so I thought. None left behind. What? I'm not quite sure how that happened, but anyways, since the wall was nearly broken from the day before, not only was I able to get that part, but I was also able to make up for yesterday by finding another part not too far away. But in classic Pikmin fashion, they insist on bringing one of the parts through the hardest route imaginable, causing me to lose yet more of my ever precious time trying to reroute them. With 3 days left and 6 parts to be collected, I'll need to get at least 2 parts a day to collect them all, which is an easy task today, seeing as how I did most of the setup, or so I thought. I got jumped by the wildlife that I thought I had control over, going from 30 Pikmin down to just 7. I decided to retreat to try to strategize, then I remembered who I am, and the fact that I don't strategize, because strategy's for losers. I bang my head into a wall repeatedly until something changes, usually going insane in the process. So I just grabbed more reds and went to bang my head against said wall until the wall fell. No insanity for me today, thanks to my hero, nameless red Pikmin number 27. Wait, is this him? Anyway, while scouting, I found another one of those rock beetle things holding one of my ever vital ship parts. After much trial and error, I learned that having Pikmin stuck up his little sucky compartment makes his backside open. You know what? Just watch this. Oh! gotta get one stuck inside of his thing. After we learned what makes him tick, we nearly one-cycled him and recovered the bowsprit, leaving 2 ship parts left in the area, one of which I was able to start carrying back around sunset. Last day before liftoff! And it's today when I realized that the last part isn't in this area. Well, man, first attempt at a Pikmin game, I think 29. I'm not going to get 30 even if I get the last 2 parts here because it's only 29. I'm assuming there was like one other planet or something, I don't know, but it's in another area entirely. So that means our cap is 29. And I was able to grab the last 2 parts with half a day left and literally 0 issues whatsoever. Not the most exciting finish in the world, but I'm glad we got that done with so I can get back to losing at Pokerogue. Of course we hurt ourselves. And here we're paralyzed. We're slower. Yeah. That's how it ends, of course. That, as well as everything here, was streamed on twitch.tv/relaxruthless, and I should be live by the time this video comes up, so hey, I'll probably be live when you're seeing this too, so come in and say hi, I don't know. And like any good CEO, I hosted a small pizza party for the working middle class for carrying the entire operation on their backs, figuratively and, in this case, literally. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then they also have to count 0. Alright, it's time for the launch. The day when my life support system fails has come. I've connected only 29 of the 30 ship parts, but I have no choice to attempt to launch into space. Incomplete as it is, the ship doesn't need every lost part in order to fly. For better or worse, I must go. Alright, let's see. Then I bid farewell to this planet and the little guys that helped me get through everything and charted a course for home. Okotate.